Hello guys, this is Don Zombies and welcome to the 5th video in the Races of Azeroth series. As requested by many of you, in this video I will be covering the Furbolg, and just like the other races, they have been in the game since Warcraft 3, and in the lore they have been there for a very long time, so without further ado, let's just get into the lore. There is a big mystery when it comes to the origin of the Furbolg and many different contradictions as well, but it is certain that they're an ancient race and that they have been here since before the Titans came to the world, and they're also considered to be the children of the Bear Ancients called Ursok and Ursol, who are actually twin brothers. Another thing we can't say for sure, but we think that it is true, is that the Furbolg originate from Northrend, more specifically the Grizzly Hills areas, but the zones were a bit different at the time. And there are a lot of them also in the Northern Kalimdor, in the zones like Ashenvale and Fellwood and all of the forested areas. Although do take into consideration that the continents were once together before the Sundering, so the creatures were spread apart a bit differently, and once the Sundering happened and the world was torn apart, they got split apart, all of these creatures. So it's not like the Furbolg from Northrend took a ship to Ashenvale or something like that. In the original lore, they had no part in the War of the Ancients, but with the ever-confusing War of the Ancients trilogy by Richard A. Knack, that has changed, as the twin ancients Ursok and Ursol were one of the first ones to answer the call of Cenarius, and they both died quite valiantly in the battle against the horde of the Burning Legion demons. And that was not even the start of the troubles with the Furbolgs and the demons, as during the Third War or the second invasion of the Burning Legion, the Furbolgs had it the worst, as the Burning Legion just corrupted their lands, killed many of them, but more of them actually got driven to insanity, which is why most of the Furbolgs you see in the questing zones are hostile and they're quite aggressive. Although there is quite a misconception, as the Furbolg are actually friendly, and compared to the other races that you've covered in this series, they aren't as primitive or as savage or even as evil. Long ago, they were friends with both the Night Elves and the Tauren, and even their ancient twins actually visited the Night Elven festivals, but the thing that drove them to madness, and generally their central part of their society, is their love for nature. Now, their society is heavily based on worshipping their ancient twins, and more importantly, heavily being connected with nature, having both druids and shaman in their ranks, even though they don't even see that much of a difference between the druids and shamans, even though there is actually a difference. So you can imagine that once a vile demonic force spawns into their land, that they start twisting, corrupting, destroying everything around them, and let's not forget that they also killed their two central figures of their society, so you kinda get the idea how they were driven to madness. However, not all of them became evil, as you can see a certain amount of neutral Furbolg, and also there are certain quests where the Furbolg joined the Draenei on the Azermist Isles, and they helped them, and in one quest the Night Elves also helped the Furbolg fight a satyr that had been corrupting them, and they kinda freed themselves from the madness. So in their core, they're not an evil race, but they have just gone through so much that you can kinda understand their troubles. When it comes to characteristics, they average about 400 pounds in weight and about 7 to 10 feet tall, so they're about the same height as the Tauren and even the Centaur on some occasions. And judging that they're related to the Bear Ancients, they look quite like bears but have humanoid hands that give them the opportunity to build and do something greater than just having paws. And as I mentioned earlier, they're heavily connected to the nature and the land around them, and they have many druids and the shaman, although they also have a lot of warriors who can be quite fierce because of their natural predisposition to be big and strong and have a bear-like form. And currently there are many Furbolg tribes, but unlike with the other races that are all spread out, they actually have two capitals called the Timbermaw Hold and the Grizzlemaw, although in my opinion I think the Grizzlemaw is a bit more important and also a bit more ancient. Thousands of years ago, in the first attempts to create the World Tree, the ancient Night Elves planted a seed of a tree that was to be called Vordrasil, not knowing that beneath the ground where the roots set in there was the prison of Yogg-Saron, who corrupted this tree, and the entire attempt kinda failed. and the entire thing was abandoned and the entire attempt kinda failed. Although later on the Furbolg created a city of their own in the stump of the tree, but there was still the old god influence and it was definitely not gone, as you can see through the quest lines, as they even resurrected one of the better ancients and he gets corrupted by the influence of Yogg-Saron, so you can kinda see that their history is quite tragical. Apart from all of that, the Furbolg are considered to be one of the many possible playable races because we have seen so many attempts of the Alliance and the Horde to recruit the Furbolgs by sending multiple emissaries, but so far the Furbolgs have kinda declined everything as they kinda want to stay neutral. However, it is said that they're kinda leaning a bit more towards the Night Elves, but since they're also friends with the Tauren, they don't really want to join any faction because they would have to make enemies with the other and they don't really want to be in that position. Alright, that is all I have for this lore lesson. Now do leave your feedback on what race you would like to see covered next, and also don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not subscribed already to the channel, as it really helps out the channel and keeps all the videos going. And thanks a lot for taking your time out of the day to watch this video, and see you next time.